What is going on, Roland Empire? Here, guys, to give you a video. So now today's topic is going to be on Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers review. I'm just going to go with it however I want. I will say whatever I want. You guys let me know what you think. This is Spoil on Spoilers. I'm letting you guys know as a countdown. This is spoilers. Whatever I say, I say. You can't get mad. I'm gonna have a review at this time this gets released no matter what. This is gonna be the spoilers. I will eventually post this. This will be where you guys say, man, this scene and that scene, and when this scene, and I wish this scene, and why couldn't this scene, but this scene was amazing. This is what this video's for. So we are going now with this, guys. Holy crap, what a movie. This was great. I wanted everything. I appreciated from the intro how it led on Mysterio and how it messes with Spider-Man. I appreciate that Far From Home is still taking place with the beginning of this movie. You let this time to marinate and all that, so it eventually becomes No Way Home and you understand what the plot is becoming and all. I adored this, that John Watts gave us this kind of Spider-Man throughout to how narrative is. I love how the narrative was and all that. Realizing then, first thing out of the bat, Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock. That was a surprise. I love the way they put the camera to introduce them. That was part of the images that if you know you got leakage, you got leakage. It was fair. I knew it was going to be a cameo, but even a cool action sequence, something quick to show that he is who he is. I'm glad he blocked that whole brick from hitting Peter and Peter realizing who is he. He's like, he's a good liar. That kind of stuff was really good. I like to see the fallout. I love how the fallout was playing for this storyline and all that. But then as throughout of it, you get Tom Holland wanting to go to college and seeing that his friends got affected too. You can somehow sympathize or empathize with that and wanting that, he goes to Doctor Strange. He tells him what went on. This is where I wish Doctor Strange would have told him more, but I get it. You kind of have to put the plot, and it's still a bit on Peter's fault, but still he tries to have Strange cast a spell, but then Peter kind of messes it up, like the trailer hints. Like the trailer hints about his family wants to remember, and throughout that, Stephen tells Peter, you need to tell the college board people, give them your, let them hear you out at the very least. So that is what leads him to go on the highway, the freeway scene, and that's how we get the reveal with Doc Ock. Throughout all that, nice set piece, realizing more with the tentacles, which is the Iron Spider. I like those kind of like just a little bit like references and all, and it's a nice little action sequence. And who would have thought, man, an era of Spider-Man just going at it. It's fun from a fanboy, and it's still good. Feels good that it feels natural. It feels as organic as you can for this film with the storyline and all, and that leads to that and all, and then eventually what we get more is you realize Doctor Strange is telling him how these people kind of got through, and Spider-Man eventually has a fight with Doctor Strange because Spider-Man still is a good person. He doesn't want these people to get hurt no matter how bad they are, and Spider-Man and him just go at it. Nice little sequence, and through the whole the mirror dimension, but what Spider-Man outsmarts him, not beats him, is he's Peter Parker. He's a friendly, good neighborhood, smart, person. He outsmarts him with geometry. So that was a nice kind of like give him an excuse to kind of beat him, but he didn't really. But he beat him with his wits and all. So Peter just really just being a good person. He tries to help his best, and I can see this being a flaw now that maybe the characters how they were handled, people had expectations. I can see maybe how they took him back to the condominium where they are with Happy Hogan because May and Peter need to be kind of more contained so not everybody bothers them in their their life and all. But I still like that they gave time for these characters because you thought maybe they could have been glorified cameos. They serve a purpose no matter how how little, like Lizard he dealt with, or how grand how Goblin and Doc Ock did. William Dafoe, holy crap, the returning member of this guy, how he sells as a good actor, Goblin and Norman's personas, how they had an excuse. I wish I would have saw more of the mask, but it was still nice how they treated him and they got that glimpse at the beginning, but then eventually he comes in and he helps Peter, and you kind of start realizing that he is going to be sort of the main villain. But it's nice how they kind of helped a bit to kind of give that weight and help Doc Ock and all, and have Doc Ock carry a purpose still, where Spider-Man 2, he was having a redemption arc, sort of, and they kind of have him go here, and you kind of question, are they going to revert? But they don't really revert. They kind of continue who they were going, so I'm glad with him as a prime example, he still went the route that they intended for the character, so they didn't butcher. I'm glad they didn't butcher any of these characters, and really good just to kind of see how you want to help them. You still kind of think also how much of this logic goes, but just kind of realizing that this is a multiverse and all, and the multiverse with having these spells, you accept it. You kind of know. I get it that there are issues. This isn't a perfect movie. It has its flaws, like a lot of the perfect movies are. But as this movie that this was filled with fan service, but I appreciated the fan service that they kind of added to the story of Spider-Man. It did a fair job of balancing these things out. So you realize that, they save Doc Ock. Goblin kind of, messes up everything. This is where, Goblin makes Tom Holland question now. He takes out Aunt May, and good for Peter Parker in the sense that this, now Tom Holland went through a character that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire did. Now this was Tom Holland's way. You think they were going to go out with the great power comes great responsibility. No, they gave this to May, and this is sort of serving that Tom Holland. This was an origins trilogy, and it's still fascinating that they gave him an origins trilogy. They gave it in a different way, but man, was it intense and brutal scenes, like also Goblin and Tom Holland's Peter Parker going it out, realizing that maybe Tom Holland shouldn't, but maybe he should have helped these people, and it gives him more weight. He needs to go think and all. His friends really help him out. Zendaya and Jacob Batalon really do good on giving them more weighted performances. I wish Ned Leeds kind of gave more of a reason why he has powers now, like whether you're a girl or a guy, it's not Mary Sue or not Mary Sue. We want to know reasons a bit why he has these powers, but you go along with it still. And what then eventually comes, what people were expecting, and this is the other part of the leak image. You get Andrew Garfield, you kind of question, but I know a bit. You're like, is that Tom Holland? He gets closer, it's Andrew Garfield, and like how the reaction was with fans. He takes the mask off, people applaud. It's that thing. He comes in, they talk for a bit how everything goes, realizing that they kind of came in, but they were trying to look for Tom Holland, but it wasn't until this that he was able to find his friend somehow. And then a few seconds later, then the next one comes in, and you kind of think he's in civilian all street clothes, but it's Tobey Maguire. He comes in. The crowd has a good time. It's these kind of things that make the cinema experience. Man, the cinema experience worthwhile. And just seeing them kind of interact with one another, realizing, giving reasons that Spider-Man is Spider-Man. You need to protect the identity. That's where Tom Holland is in a way that he needs to have his identity protected. And seeing that they want to help him, and then eventually his friends take him to this really good kind of, I thought it was a chapel, but I think it's the school where Tom Holland's at. And they meet, they bring them there, and then they have a whole talk. Tom Holland thinks they don't understand. They do understand. They give a little bit of a refresher that their Uncle Bens have gone through it so much, and their characters have had things they regret that they're trying to make amends. And Tom Holland then realizes that they're all together. So it really is that thing that they give each other lessons of Spider-Man, and realizing that okay, he's not going to take him back, they're going to go team up, and that leads to the third part now, that he kind of gets J.K. Simmons to be like, hey guys, I'm right here. So they all come for him for this box, and then eventually you get Tom Holland with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. They team up. At first they just kind of go at it, but they realize that Tom Holland is like, he's been on a team, and Tobey Maguire, the way he delivers it, what are the Avengers? But in a way, because it's his movie too, he's like, okay, I make the call, so that's okay. But I like that they've given enough that realizing who each Peter Parker is. Tobey Maguire is the godfather, essentially. Tom Holland is the current one that has led with other members of superheroes for the Avengers. And they start finally working in teams. And you get Electro, who really serves as a really, good job on Jamie Foxx. He deserved this kind of thing with Lizard and the Sandman, and they all kind of battle it out, and it's a nice way to, I'm glad they balanced out where it looks like you were watching all three of their movies kind of combined with this. That was a fun ride. You give them all kind of like standing, same shot, just poses, and realizing them when they start web slinging. It's a little bit of an Avengers team up, but with Spider-Mans and all that. And then just seeing that, how it did a good job giving people balances. Not everybody was fully developed, but it was enough developments. And then just after that, when they finally get the cures on those characters, then you get Doc Ock, who's all kind of been cured already. But it's nice that he kind of helped them a bit. Doctor Strange comes back, realizes that Tom Holland's plan is working, and just kind of lets him play it out a bit. But then he eventually because of Goblin, because the Green Goblin shows up. He messes up everything, so Doctor Strange has to kind of close back the multiverse and just kind of try to help, everybody get their cure and all. And so you kind of have like a bit of like 4 against 5, or a bit of 5 against 4 and all, and that's kind of that kind of thing. And once they cure most of them, then it's up to Tom Holland and William Dafoe to go at it. This was another shot that John West said that was like, good job. You kind of put your stamp on it now, and you made it seem very Spider-Man centric. That heaviness, William Dafoe, really good actor, channels the best also of Tom Holland. Tom Holland really is really good when he now is put up to this challenge. They go at it real fist fight kind of thing, like how Toby and William did. It's nice to see Tom and William kind of go at it now. Tom kind of beats him and all, and you think once he kind of gets him, Toby just stops it. And I like this scene, just a nice little way of sort of passing the torch and selling it with the acting, and Tom realizing that this is in the way. You think then Toby gets stabbed, but I'm glad that they kept him alive. Everything that's going on, I kind of needed him alive. I needed him alive for just biased reasons. But yeah, with Tom and all, and seeing him just kind of banter with all these Spider-Mans, it was a nice way to kind of add him character, add him have development, still see these characters get redemption. Andrew gets to save an MJ now, that's great. And it's nice to see Toby and Tom kind of be like they're kind of like, it's the original and the current. It's really is passing the torch. It's adorable to see this passing of the torch thing. And then finally they cure William Dafoe, and then you realize Tom needs to save this by doing the spell. Doctor Strange, they have one last time where they talk, they make sure everything is good, but Tom wants him to cast the spell now so the multiverse can get closed, so the multiverse closes and the world of his universe gets saved. And Andrew, Toby, and Tom have one last talk, one last talk and a goodbye. And then Tom just really goes back now, living his life. He gets what he wants, and this feels like a fresh slate now. This looks like finally we're gonna get a Spider-Man trilogy with him, and I really hope then now. I kind of want to see. It has endless possibilities. They definitely wrapped up this franchise now to have endless possibilities for maybe another one, or maybe just a standalone, but maybe something that Tom can do now, work at the Daily Bugle or something, or now really see how he is as a college life, balance it out with Spider-Man. So they did kind of give it a, and I understand people were like, maybe the Zendaya and Jacob Batalon should have remembered, maybe Zendaya and Jacob Batalon should have remembered. But it's nice that Tom Holland is giving him a chance now. Tom Holland is given a chance to kind of live a life now, and it's like a fresh new start now. And this trilogy wraps up as best as it could for an MCU multiverse. For what the MCU slate was with the multiverse and all, this Spider-Man trilogy wrapped it up. It was a nice almost 20 years. 20 years with like 8 movies with these 3 Spider-Man. It really wrapped up as fun, as nice as it could. And I just had a good time. This is why it deserves the AA+. It's an AA+ movie for me still. Even with criticisms, this was still nice. You can't make this any better. They tried as best as they could. And just, I had a great time, guys. But like I say, let me know if you didn't like this movie. Give me your reasons. Let me know why you did, and you just rank it as a top 10, top 5, your favorite of all time. The characters, even though some took setbacks, others took the lead, it really paid off. And seeing how 3-act structures went, like with the freeway scene, with the Doctor Strange vs. Spider-Man scene, with Doc Ock, Electro, Lizard, Sandman, Green Goblin versus just Doctor Strange, Toby Spider-Man, Andrew Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. It was all well worth it. It really did deliver it, and it really paid off. I just had a great time with these characters. I had a great time with the movie. It was a fun time. So all this in the comments below. And as always, roll an empire, laugh, smile, repeat.